Hi guys, Dr. Berg here. Today I want to share with you something really powerful. 6 food hacks that can help heal your body, starve cancer cells, and burn fat at the same time. Now we've all heard that food can either be your best medicine or your slowest form of poison, and that's absolutely true. What you put in your body is either feeding health or feeding disease. So I want to simplify it for you and show you some very practical things you can start applying today. First, let's talk about how cancer cells work. They thrive on one thing primarily, sugar. They're sugar junkies. Cancer cells cannot survive without glucose, while your healthy cells can actually adapt and run on ketones. So the first food hack is cutting down sugars and hidden carbs. When you do that, you're literally starving cancer cells while giving your body a chance to heal and burn fat. Second, cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, kale, Brussels sprouts, cabbage. These contain phytonutrients called indole-3, carbenol, and sulforaphane, which help detoxify harmful estrogens and protect your DNA. They're like little soldiers cleaning up your cells. That's a huge hack when it comes to preventing disease and burning fat. Third, healthy fats. I'm talking about avocado, olive oil, wild-caught salmon, coconut oil. Healthy fats not only fuel your brain and keep you satisfied, but they also put you into fat-burning mode. And here's the interesting part. When you're in ketosis, your body becomes an environment where cancer has a really hard time surviving. Fourth, intermittent fasting. Technically not a food, but a food hack. When you give your digestive system a break, you activate autophagy, your body's natural cleanup crew that eats up damaged cells, precancerous cells, and excess fat. It's powerful. Fifth, garlic and onions. These contain sulfur compounds that are incredibly anti-cancer. They help detoxify the liver, reduce inflammation, and support your immune system. Think of them as natural antibiotics, but without side effects. And finally, green tea. It's loaded with antioxidants like EGCG, which not only enhance fat burning, but also inhibit the growth of cancer cells. It's one of the simplest hacks to add into your daily routine. So when you combine these hacks, low sugar, cruciferous vegetables, healthy fats, intermittent fasting, garlic and onions, and green tea, you're setting up an internal environment that promotes healing, starves off cancer cells, and helps your body efficiently burn fat. When we start talking about cancer, healing the body, and fat loss, one of the first things that comes up is sugar. Now here's the truth most people don't realize. Cancer cells thrive on sugar. They live for it. In fact, cancer cells consume glucose about 10 times faster than your normal, healthy cells. Why? Because cancer cells are damaged. Their mitochondria, the little engines inside your cells that produce energy, don't work properly. Instead of using oxygen and running on fat efficiently, they revert to a primitive way of getting energy called fermentation. And guess what fuels fermentation? Sugar. Glucose. That means every time you're feeding your body sugar, refined carbs, or hidden sugars, you're basically providing fuel to cancer cells like throwing gasoline on a fire. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Your normal, healthy cells are actually very flexible. They can run on glucose, but they can also switch and run on fat. They can produce energy through ketones, which come from fat. Cancer cells, however, cannot adapt. They're locked into this sugar dependency. And that gives us a huge advantage because if you reduce sugar intake, you're starving out the cancer cells, while your healthy cells are thriving. This is why low-carb ketogenic diets and intermittent fasting have such profound effects on health. They change the fuel source inside your body. Think of it like this. Let's say you have 2 engines. One is broken, stuck on cheap fuel, and can't use anything else. The other one is advanced, flexible, and can use both cheap and premium fuel. If you stop supplying the cheap fuel, the broken engine stalls, but the advanced one keeps running even better. That's essentially what happens when you lower glucose and increase fat burning in your body. You weaken the cancer cells and strengthen the healthy ones. Now, when we say sugar, we're not just talking about table sugar or candy. We're talking about all the hidden sugars that spike insulin and blood glucose. White bread, pasta, rice, crackers, cereal, fruit juices. These are disguised sugars. They may not taste sweet, but once you digest them, they break down into glucose. And this constant influx of glucose raises insulin levels, which is another big problem. Insulin is not just a fat storage hormone, it's also a growth hormone. It stimulates cell growth. So when you have high insulin levels, you're not only gaining fat, but you're also creating a growth environment for cancer cells. And that's the exact opposite of what you want if your goal is to heal, prevent cancer, or lose weight. By cutting back on carbs and sugars, you're lowering insulin, which reduces fat storage and takes away the growth stimulus from cancer cells. And here's another layer, inflammation. Sugar creates massive inflammation in the body. Inflammation damages tissues, weakens your immune system, and creates an environment where cancer cells can spread. So when you reduce sugar, you're lowering inflammation, strengthening your immune defenses, and creating a much healthier environment overall. This is also why fasting is so powerful. When you fast, you're not eating, which means you're not spiking insulin, you're not feeding cancer cells, and you're giving your body a chance to switch over to fat as fuel. During this process, your body produces ketones, which not only fuel your healthy cells, but also have anti-cancer properties. Studies show ketones can actually inhibit the growth of cancer cells. They just can't handle ketones. So the first and most critical hack is simple. Stop feeding cancer cells. Stop feeding them sugar. Switch your diet toward real, whole foods that don't spike your glucose. Focus on proteins, healthy fats, and lots of vegetables, especially cruciferous ones, and get rid of refined carbs and processed junk. Even fruits, while natural, can be a problem if you consume too much because of the fructose. Moderation is key. Now, some people might say, but wait, don't our cells need glucose to survive? And the answer is yes, but only in very small amounts. Your body is extremely smart. It can make glucose on its own through a process called gluconeogenesis. That means even if you eat no sugar at all, your liver can make the exact amount of glucose that's necessary for certain tissues like red blood cells. So there is no need to consume sugar to survive. Your body has it covered. When you make this shift, you'll notice amazing things happening. Your energy levels will become more stable because you're not crashing after every meal. Your cravings will decrease because sugar is highly addictive. And once you break free from that cycle, you don't feel controlled by food anymore. Your brain will function better because ketones are a cleaner fuel than glucose. And most importantly, you're creating an internal environment where cancer cells cannot thrive. So the bottom line is this: the first and most powerful food hack to heal the body, starve cancer, and burn fat is to cut out the sugar and refined carbs. By doing that, you're starving cancer of its fuel source, reducing insulin inflammation, supporting fat burning, and giving your body the upper hand in healing. It's not complicated. It's about creating the right environment inside your body. And when you do, the body has an amazing ability to heal itself. When it comes to healing the body, preventing cancer, and burning fat, one of the most underrated food groups is cruciferous vegetables. I'm talking about broccoli, kale, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, arugula, bok choy. These are powerhouse foods. They're not just low in calories and carbohydrates. They're loaded with specific compounds that directly help the body detoxify, repair DNA, and even switch off cancer-promoting pathways. And most people don't realize how powerful these foods are until they actually start eating them regularly. So let's break this down. Cruciferous vegetables contain compounds called glucosinolates. When you chew and digest them, these break down into indole-3-carbonyl and sulforaphane. Now, why are those important? Because they have a direct effect on detoxifying harmful estrogens, neutralizing carcinogens, and protecting your DNA. That's huge. Think about it. Every day you're exposed to chemicals, pollutants, pesticides, plastics, even the byproducts of your own metabolism. These compounds need to be detoxified in the liver, and if they're not, they can create DNA damage, mutations, and increase the risk of cancer. Sulforaphane specifically is like a switch that turns on your body's detox genes. It activates enzymes in the liver that take toxins, break them down, and safely eliminate them from the body. That's phase 2 detoxification. And it doesn't stop there. Sulforaphane also helps lower inflammation, reduce oxidative stress, and even block certain pathways that cancer cells use to grow. It's almost like nature designed cruciferous vegetables as a defense shield for the body. Now let's talk about estrogen. A lot of people have problems with estrogen dominance, meaning they have too much of the wrong type of estrogen in the body. This can increase the risk of hormone-related cancers, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, prostate cancer in men. Indole-3-carbonyl from cruciferous vegetables helps the body metabolize estrogen into a safer form. So instead of having these harmful, potent estrogens floating around, your body converts them into weaker, less harmful metabolites. This is why cruciferous cruciferous vegetables are often recommended for people with a history of hormone-related cancers. Another point here is DNA protection. One of the early steps in cancer development is DNA damage. Free radicals, toxins, radiation, they can all damage DNA. But sulforaphane and other phytonutrients in cruciferous vegetables actually help protect DNA and improve repair mechanisms. It's like having a built-in repair system that keeps your cells from going rogue. Now, aside from their anti-cancer benefits, cruciferous vegetables also help with fat loss. How? Well, first, they're extremely low in calories and carbs, which means you can eat a large volume of them and still stay in fat-burning mode. Second, they contain a lot of fiber, which slows down digestion, stabilizes blood sugar, and keeps you full. Third, by supporting liver detoxification, they actually improve fat metabolism. Remember, the liver is the key organ for burning fat. If the liver is clogged up with toxins, fat burning slows down. Cruciferous vegetables help clear that out, which means more efficient fat burning. Now, a lot of people will say, well, I don't really like the taste of broccoli or Brussels sprouts. And my response is, try preparing them in different ways. Roast them with olive oil, steam them lightly, throw them into a stir fry. When you overcook them, yes, they can taste bitter. But when you lightly steam or saute them, you preserve the nutrients and they taste much better. You don't need to eat a giant bowl every day. Even a small amount consistently can make a big difference. One more important thing, these vegetables are rich in potassium, magnesium, vitamin C, vitamin K, and many trace minerals. Potassium, for example, is critical for insulin sensitivity, which helps regulate blood sugar and fat storage. Magnesium supports over 300 enzyme reactions, including those involved in energy production. Vitamin K is essential for bone health and cardiovascular health. So when you eat cruciferous vegetables, you're not just getting anti-cancer compounds. You're also supplying your body with critical micronutrients that support healing and energy. There's also research showing that cruciferous vegetables can actually help lower insulin-like growth factor IGF-1. High levels of IGF-1 are associated with increased cancer risk because it stimulates cell proliferation. By lowering IGF-1, these vegetables reduce that growth signal, making it harder for cancer cells to spread. Let's also mention inflammation. Chronic inflammation is the foundation of almost every disease. Cancer, obesity, diabetes, heart disease. Sulforaphane has been shown to inhibit NF-κB, which is a key inflammatory pathway. When NF-κB is activated, it turns on genes that promote inflammation, tumor growth, and cell survival. When sulforaphane shuts this off, you're essentially reducing the environment cancer cells need to thrive. So to summarize this point, cruciferous vegetables do three things incredibly well. They help detoxify harmful compounds. They regulate hormones like estrogen, and they protect DNA from damage. And when you combine all of that with their ability to reduce inflammation, lower IGF-1, and support the liver, you've got a food group that is absolutely essential if you're trying to heal the body, prevent cancer, or burn fat. I always tell people, don't think of food just as calories. Think of food as information. Every bite you eat is sending a message to your cells. Cruciferous vegetables send messages like detoxify, repair, protect, burn fat, whereas processed foods and sugars send messages like store fat, grow abnormal cells, inflame the body. The choice is yours. And if you want your body to heal, thrive, and resist cancer, cruciferous vegetables are one of the smartest choices you can make. When we talk about healing the body, starving cancer, and burning fat, there's one shift that makes all the difference, moving your body from sugar burning to fat burning. And the way you do that is by consuming healthy fats and practicing intermittent fasting. These two go hand in hand. If you only change your diet halfway, you'll struggle. But when you put these together, your body transforms into a fat-burning, healing machine. Let's first address healthy fats, because this is where most people are misled. For decades, we've been told that fat is bad, that fat clogs your arteries, that fat makes you fat. But that's not true when we're talking about natural, healthy fats. The real culprits behind obesity, heart disease, and even cancer are refined carbs, processed foods, and trans fats. Not avocado, not olive oil, not salmon. Healthy fats actually provide the most stable, efficient fuel source for your body. Your brain, for example, is nearly 60% fat. Every single cell in your body has a membrane made of fat. Your hormones are built from cholesterol, which comes from fat. So when you deprive your body of fat, you're depriving it of the very building blocks it needs to function. Now, when you start giving your body high-quality fats like avocado, nuts, seeds, extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, grass-fed butter, wild-caught salmon, sardines, your body responds by stabilizing blood sugar, improving brain function, and reducing inflammation. These fats don't spike insulin. And remember, insulin is the switch that determines whether you're storing fat or burning fat. Here's the key. When insulin is low, your body burns fat. When insulin is high, your body stores fat. That's it. It's not about calories as much as it's about hormones, specifically insulin. Healthy fats keep insulin low, which means your body is free to tap into its fat stores. And this doesn't just mean fat loss, it also means you're depriving cancer cells of the insulin and glucose they thrive on. Now let's add intermittent fasting to the equation. Intermittent fasting is not about starvation. It's about giving your body a break from constantly digesting food. The average person eats from the moment they wake up until right before bed, sometimes snacking late into the night. That's 16, 17, even 18 hours of constant eating. The body never gets a break. And what does that do? It keeps insulin elevated all day long. When you practice intermittent fasting, you compress your eating window. For example, you might eat within 8 hours and fast for 16, or you might eat within 6 hours and fast for 8. During that fasting period, your insulin drops, your glucose drops, and your body has no choice but to switch to fat as its primary fuel. And when your body is in this fat-burning mode, you produce ketones. Ketones are not just a fuel, they're a healing molecule. They reduce inflammation, protect neurons in the brain, and even have anti-cancer properties. Cancer cells can't use ketones effectively, but your healthy cells can. That gives your body an enormous advantage. Another powerful thing happens during fasting, autophagy. This is your body's natural recycling program. When you're not eating, your cells start cleaning house. They break down damaged proteins, dysfunctional mitochondria, and even precancerous cells. Autophagy literally means self-eating, and it's one of the most powerful healing mechanisms in the body. You're not just burning fat during fasting, you're cleaning up the garbage that leads to disease. Now, when you combine healthy fats with intermittent fasting, you make the process much easier. If you try fasting on a high-carb, low-fat diet, you'll be starving, cranky, and miserable because your body is still addicted to glucose. But when you fuel up on healthy fats, your blood sugar stays stable, your hunger hormones calm down, and you can go long periods without eating comfortably. Fat is satiating. That's why people who eat a ketogenic diet with intermittent fasting often report that they can go 16, 18, even 20 hours without hunger. It's not willpower, it's physiology. Let's also talk about healing. Chronic diseases, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, heart disease, all share common roots: insulin resistance, inflammation, and oxidative stress. Healthy fats lower insulin resistance. Intermittent fasting lowers inflammation. Ketones reduce oxidative stress. You're attacking the problem from every angle. And that's why people see improvements, not just in weight, but in energy, focus, skin health, and overall vitality. A lot of people fear fats because of cholesterol. But here's the truth. Dietary cholesterol has very little impact on blood cholesterol. In fact, when you eat healthy fats and cut carbs, your triglycerides go down, your HDL goes up, and your LDL particles become larger and less harmful. That's a much healthier lipid profile than what you get on a low-fat, high-carb diet. The body is designed to thrive on fat as its primary fuel. So what does this look like practically? Start your day with healthy fats. Maybe eggs cooked in butter with avocado on the side. Skip the constant snacking. Move into a fasting window where you're only eating twice a day. Load your meals with vegetables, moderate protein, and plenty of healthy fats. Avoid refined carbs, avoid seed oils, and watch what happens. You'll start burning fat, your cravings will disappear, your brain will feel sharper, and you'll create an internal environment that cancer cells can't survive in. The message here is simple. Stop fearing fat and start fearing sugar. Healthy fats combined with intermittent fasting are not just a diet strategy, they're a healing strategy. They lower insulin, they switch you into fat burning, they protect your DNA, and they create resilience in your body. When you give your cells the right fuel and the right rhythm of eating and fasting, you allow your body to do what it was designed to do: heal, repair, and thrive.